Good evening. Here
Hello,
live, Soul Fire Ascension with Raven
Jessamy. Hello, everyone. Thank you for
and
coming.
we are welcoming Miss Lauren from the Limitless Lotus. And I want to take a minute to thank our viewers for watching. We love you. And we're going to play a little bit of a trailer so that you know who Lauren is before we begin. Everybody ready? Soul Fire Ascension with Raven and Jessamy live. Welcome, Lauren with the Limitless Lotus. Lauren is a light activated healing and DNA reactivation practitioner. Join us as Lauren shows us how to raise our vibrations and the importance of remembering our soul's mission and its limitless nature. Friday, December 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss out. Please subscribe. Awesome. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here.
Absolutely.
Lauren and I swapped out modalities because, as you know, I am an aura practitioner, and Lauren is what type of practitioner are you now, Lauren?
I'm a light activation healing practitioner as well as a DNA reactivation practitioner.
Awesome. And we swapped out sessions. And I have to say, our sessions are pretty close in a lot of things. Whereas I deal with sacred alchemy that I'm under contract. I can't reveal the alchemy. And Lauren is under contract. She cannot reveal the sacred geometry. And so we traded out sessions because I always, whenever I have somebody that I want to bring on the show, I want to experience their modality and know that it's authentic. And I can tell you that Lauren's modality is genuinely authentic. I had a fantastic experience. At one point, I was laying down on my bed, and Lauren does this remotely. And I was laying down on my bed, and you know how you feel your feet come out from under you and you're falling? And I was just laying on my bed, and I was like, whoa, And then she called me afterwards with her impressions. And I mean, she knew some things that actually nobody really knew. So she pretty much did a lot of cord cutting and did a lot of healing, and I felt really good afterwards. So, Lauren, without divulging too much, can you please tell us a little bit about sacred geometry? What is it?
Yeah, sure. So, sacred geometry is basically all of the patterns and shapes that repeat themselves throughout nature and throughout the universe. And essentially, honing in on these and connecting with these can enhance our connection to all that is. A really good quick example of sacred geometry would be the Fibonacci sequence, which is like the spiral that Da Vinci worked with. And it shows a good example of how it could show up in both the very small and the very big. So you can see the spiral in something like the center of a flower, or like the bottom of a pine cone, or in the center of a tornado, or even something as large as a galaxy. Um,
Oh,
so that repetition kind of just shows us the interconnectedness of everything.
That is
okay. I think that I've seen a lot of sacred geometry in flowers, a lot in
Mhm.
flowers. Can you explain what light activation is?
Yeah. So in light activation, we're using a very specific frequency, and it's a very high vibrational frequency that gets channeled directly from the stars or from star consciousness. It stems from really old ancient healing techniques in cultures such as Peru, Mexico, Hawaii, um, as well as Egypt. Ancient Egypt is a big one, and it even has connections with Atlantis and Lemuria. Um, so it's, even though it was channeled more recently by a woman named Cindy Eiler, who is the founder of light activation, it's a very ancient modality that's been used for thousands and thousands of years. Um, so we channel it through star consciousness, and in pairing it with these different sacred geometry forms that we also use in the healing. We're basically drawing in these higher frequencies that allow people to align with their highest selves and ascend on a more, like, quicker than they normally would be able to if they weren't using these tools.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we
Jesse,
also work
really
on the
cool.
chakras and just like aligning people in their bodies. And I would say, like,
Mhm.
if you wanted to compare it to like a stone, I would compare it to moldavite. Like, the frequency of light activation is very, very high
Ooh,
and very, very activating and very out of this world. So it really
yeah,
like amplifies one's motivation to let go of things that don't serve them and to align with their highest frequency.
that's beautiful.
yeah, that is awesome. And moldavite, that's a stone that will take you with it whether you're ready or not. So
Yeah,
yeah, having
yeah,
yeah,
Isn't
having
that
that and frequencies that go with that. I mean, you've got to be ready when you decide to use it. It's coming for you, and it's a
yeah.
good thing. But sometimes
didn't
it's a little
I
more
hear?
abrupt than people realize.
Didn't
It,
I, now isn't Moldavite like they've said something about it being an alien stone or something like that? Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, it does
it was.
come from an actual asteroid, and there's not very much of it because of that. So it holds that very extraterrestrial vibration, that
Mhm.
spacey vibe, which is
Okay.
very similar, in my opinion, to the frequency of light activation.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
It's definitely a neat stone. I have a piece of it, a very small piece, and I keep it in a box, and I only bring it out when it's necessary. Otherwise, I just kind of let it rest for a while. Um, but
Yeah.
moving on, so can you tell me a little bit about DNA activation and what results from that?
Yeah, so the DNA reactivation is part of the light activation healing system. So I learned it alongside of the LAH, the light activation healing, but it's like the next step up from light activation. So my clients have to do 5 or more light activation sessions before their bodies are usually ready to actually receive the DNA healing, because we're then moving into a higher frequency that's going to unlock dormant DNA. And it essentially allows people to remember past lives and reconnect with skills they may have had in past lives. It also is really good for clearing karmic trauma that has built up throughout past lives, because sometimes people will have like repeated karmic patterns, and it's really good for bringing those into the light and like releasing the dense energy around those things.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, it's like you do the light activation to raise your vibration, and then you can move on to the DNA, and you're essentially remembering the wholeness of who you are and bringing forth those pieces of your soul that you might have been missing or not remembering.
Nice. And do these people going into my next question, do they remember like automatically during the session, or does it take a couple days and then they kind of contact you again and say, "Oh, this is what I'm remembering." How does that come forward?
It can actually look really different depending on the person. So for some people, it's like they have a vivid experience within themselves during the session where, sometimes people will like astral project and go on like almost like a full like shamanic journey within themselves and just remember, and they'll have visions of their past lives. Um, some people who are maybe not as in tune with their own intuition, they might not remember right away, but they can start to notice things in their day-to-day life. They might have dreams, like really, really vivid, lucid dreams of past lives, and they usually just kind of come with a sense of knowing that this is a dream about a past life.
Nice.
Or certain places might start to draw you in that didn't draw you in before, and you feel like a remembrance or a connection to those places, or like a magnetic pull to go there and you're not really sure why. That can be an indicator that you had a past life in that location before. Um, but yeah, what else? Oh, same with like interests and hobbies. You might become interested in like a new healing modality, or like you might want to study something that you weren't interested in studying before, but then when you start to look into it, it just like clicks with you right away, and you feel like maybe I've done this before, like this feels really right for me. So sometimes we reconnect with like skills, hobbies, or interests from past lives as well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I can definitely I can agree with that. Raven did a healing on me a few weeks ago, and some things have been clicking and popping up in my life that's like, oh, I think this makes sense now. So yeah, what you're saying is definitely like, that double verification that, oh, maybe I'm not crazy. This is nice. So yeah, I like to
Yeah.
hear that. I like to hear that.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. So, what can somebody benefit from remembering their past lives?
So, like I was saying before, accessing old skills is a really big one. Or just kind of just having a better understanding of oneself, I feel, because sometimes we have like trauma that we've been carrying for lifetimes, and it
Yeah.
manifests as, repeated issues in this life because we're still holding on to that old energy. And once
Hmm.
we're told what that is and we can see what that is, clearly we're able to release that old karma and that old trauma and forgive ourselves on a much deeper soul level than we would have been able to otherwise, because it all starts to have more of a big picture perspective.
Hmm.
I
And
totally agree with that because I know that when I'm giving somebody a session, a lot of times there's a lot of issues that are in our lives now that are actually carried over from past lives.
right.
And we don't actually know it. Like some people may be so afraid of the water and they could have drowned in a past life or something like that. And I feel
Yeah.
like it is a benefit for somebody to start remembering their past lives.
Yeah. And it
Um,
seems like too that not just even with the karmic carryover, but like sometimes things that have happened to a person in a past life will carry over and become a physical ailment. I've noticed that too.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, it does happen. And when we release the energy around those ailments, then the body starts to heal itself from them, which is the beautiful thing about energy work.
Hmm. Yep.
Yes,
Absolutely.
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 Because in the modality that I practice, we do the exact same thing. That's why I said our modalities are quite different, but the same. If that makes any sense, it
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Definitely.
Um, what brought you to doing this type of modality?
Well, it was a journey for sure. I I originally decided to become a massage therapist in my early 20s, and that was when I first became interested in being any form of healer whatsoever. And in massage school, we went over energy work a little bit and learned a little bit about it, but it wasn't very much. So I started off really physically focused in my journey, and I found that I was taking on a lot of the pain of my clients at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
somebody would come in and explain that they're having a sharp pain, like specifically right here on their shoulder. So I would work on that area. Then I would come home and I would have the exact same pain that they described to me. So I was essentially taking it on energetically from them. And it started to wear on me over time, and I had issues with like self-medicating. I was addicted to alcohol, I was addicted to kratom, tobacco, all sorts of things, spices,
Mhm.
to kind of like ease the anxiety that I had from taking on all of this crud from other people, and it was just not very good. So I just eventually had this deep longing for just like an energetic purging and cleansing. Like I just felt like I needed energetic healing, and I Googled energy healing near me. And the first thing that popped up was light activation with a girl named Crystal in Morgan Hill. And I immediately felt like magnetically drawn to it. Like I can't even explain it. I was just like, I don't really know what this is, but I know this is for me. So I signed up and started receiving the healings from her, and eventually it led to me wanting to also learn it and become a practitioner. And it did help me also get over all of those addictions, which is really
That's
cool.
fantastic. That really is. And they say that the energy healing heals the healer, is what I was always told when I was doing Reiki. And that brings us right into the next question: was how has it been healing for you? Like, you said that it's helped bring you out of some dark spots there. Um, have you noticed any other type of like physical or even just other healing aspects to yourself?
Yeah, it's like my thirst for spiritual knowledge has gotten a lot greater since starting with this
Hmm.
modality. It's like over time you just kind of expand more and more into spirituality. It's very much it's like a growth-based thing. So if you have a lot of curiosity, then it definitely gives space for learning a lot of new tools and techniques just for like clearing your energy on the day to day and stuff like that. But where was I going with this? Also, just how you interact with other people.
Hmm.
For me, like people pleasing was a really big issue in my life, and it made me aware of a lot of my patterns just in how I interacted with others and put others'
Hmm.
needs before mine in a lot of ways. And I realized, like, through this work that if I want to be able to help heal others, I have to, like, heal myself too and put my needs lessons through this journey.
Yeah,
Kind of
that
like
is really.
physician heal thyself.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Heal thyself.
Yep.
Heal thyself.
Because we have to be a clear vessel in order to heal somebody else or to work on somebody else as well.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
when you're using these high vibrational frequencies on a regular basis, it doesn't really give you a choice but to change for the better. Like the same way, like using a moldavite crystal, like
Hmm.
if you don't start making those steps for self-improvement, you'll really start to notice like your lower lows more because you're becoming
Hmm.
more aware of all aspects of yourself when you do this. So
Yeah.
this modality is really for people that are wanting to improve themselves and have like a really significant spiritual experience.
Hmm. Yeah. That's definitely something that, like, when that door opens, I mean, it opens to a whole cosmos. So there's really no going back. For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So, what would be a good way? Like when you're starting into it, there's a lot of like spiritual downloading and everything. What is a good way to help kind of protect yourself between all the barrage of the messages that come in, other people's energies? Like, what's a good way to just kind of like put something around you to help kind of cushion everything and protect yourself?
Yeah, so protection is definitely good for energy healing practitioners and also just for anyone on the day to day. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. Something I like to do is call on Archangel Michael. He's one of the archangels, but he really specializes in divine protection. If you call on him and his mighty sword, then he can remove any energy from your field that is unwanted. You just ask him to do it, and he'll protect you. Or you can. It's really just about intention. So you can do it really any way. You can visualize white light surrounding your aura, and you can say the words, only energy that supports my highest good may enter this space, or you can say, I am divinely guided and protected at all times. It can be quick and easy. You just set that intention and then you're protected.
That's good. That's good. I like quick and easy, and it's especially for um, the students that are just coming to the practice, because it's quick and easy is probably the best way for them too. That way, they're not very long without some sort of protection. There for a while, I was kind of stepping into things, and I wasn't even thinking about protecting myself, and then I had attachment on attachment on attachment. It was a mess. Hot
Yes.
mess. Raven can attest to that one. So that was a big one.
Yes.
But, you know, I had a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. Um, she explained to me how she protected herself, and I thought it was so cute. And I love it. And I tell my clients about it all the time. She told me that you remember the movie, The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And the good witch comes and she's in this bubble. And so you imagine that bubble all the way around you. And then by the time it closes down in your feet, you hear a pop. And
Cute.
that means that you're encased in the bubble.
I like that.
My friend
Yeah.
Mona told me that. And I thought, yeah, that's quick. That's easy. That's a really good protection thing there. So I I
For
really
sure.
love it. And I
I
tell
like
it
that.
anytime I can. Yeah. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that is
Isn't
really
it
cute.
cute?
That is
Yeah.
It's
really cool.
cute, but and it's practical and it's something
And it
that,
works.
you know, like you can just remember. And it's
Mhm.
like whenever I use shields day and night, I shield myself. And but there are times when I get around some people that I can feel like they may have an entity or something like that, and I can make that bubble pop in a minute. And that was the best advice she ever gave me. So
Mhm.
I just like that.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
bubble
I
popping
wear
and
St.
cool.
Michael. Yeah, I
I
wear St.
like
Michael around
Archangel.
my neck
Oh,
constantly. So
beautiful.
yeah. Oh, thank
Michael's
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
I won't go with that. So
Well,
Hmm.
Archangel Michael's very busy because I think everybody calls on him, and everybody calls
probably.
on him because he's awesome. He does what he promises to do, and he's awesome.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, what is your favorite thing about this modality?
I think it would have to be the cosmic vibes that it carries. It kind of takes you on a journey.
Oh yeah.
Like on the receiving end of it, several times I've gone on full like astral projection, like shamanic journeys where I felt like I was like everywhere and
Mhm.
everything all at once. And it really taps you into like your multidimensionality and makes you feel like you're more than just a human in a meat sack. Like it just really opens up those other dimensions, and the visuals for me that come with it are always really, really fun. Um, it's a journey. It's definitely it's out of this world, and also the connection that you can establish with the extraterrestrials through this modality if you're open to it is really magical as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Same with the
I'm
archangels and guides,
yeah.
spirit guides in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just
Hmm.
opened up to all of that recently, thanks to Raven, and now I'm just like, oh my goodness, is that what that was? Oh, I can't believe that's what happened. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Raven is opening a lot of doors for me that I'm not closing anytime soon.
It's so
Actually, I'm not opening doors for you. Your higher self is opening the doors for you because in both, I think, Lauren and my modality, we like to connect people with their higher self because we are
Yeah.
self healers
Yeah.
and our higher self knows what is best for our highest healing.
Hmm.
So I
hmm
love you, Jessamy, but it's not me. It's you, your higher self.
Well, you happen to kind of point in the right direction. I just you got to
I
make me
just
look in the right spot. But
I just
yeah,
had to hold the light for you. That's all. And
yes,
Lauren, do you agree? Is that kind of the same thing that you do on your modality as well?
Yes, I like to call myself a healing facilitator rather than a healer because I'm not the
yes,
one doing the healing. I'm just creating a pathway.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's all the client and their guides doing all of the work, and I'm just basically holding the space.
Hmm.
right. And I came from a medicine family and my grandmother taught me the family medicine. And she used to tell me when you think it's you who's doing the healing, then, she believed in God. I believe in a higher spirit. I believe in source. But she
Hmm.
would say, then God would take it away from you. And it scared me as a child, but it made me understand that it is not me who does any healing at all. I am just holding the light. And in my studies with the medicine people, I was considered what they call a hollow bone, and the energy ran through me to the other person. So, and I
Mm,
think that's the same with Lauren's too. I mean, we particularly are not the healers. We particularly are holding the energy and the light for others to heal.
mm-hmm,
Very well said.
100%. And it's
Hmm.
very important for people to understand this too. I think
Yeah.
sometimes healers or healing facilitators rather can get in their egos a little bit. And I think it's just important for everyone to know, like going into this, if they want to be on the receiving end, they have to
Hmm.
be open because they're the ones actually doing it.
Right.
Right. And I don't know about your modality, but I also know that I learned through the years that when we heal others, we heal ourselves as well. So in my sessions, I receive just as much healing, I feel like, as the client does. Do you feel that
Mhm.
way?
Always. Yeah. Definitely. I feel like sometimes, like, in order to heal somebody on the level they need to be healed, sometimes we have to receive an upgrade right there on the spot just to channel that to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah. And then you have to like ground yourself after a session too, don't you? And
Mhm.
like, what's that
Mhm.
best, the best way to do that? I mean, because um, I see what you ladies are doing, and you're several levels above me. So I'm just like I'm learning here too. So what are you would you do to ground yourself after something like that?
Well, first off, you want to cut cords with the client's energy, right? Because anytime you're working on someone, you establish an energy connection through a cord. So just call in Michael to cut that cord for you real fast. And then as far as grounding goes, I personally just like to sit with the earth. For me, that's the fastest way. So I just sit down directly on the earth and just visualize all of that extra energy just going straight down into the earth, kind of like it's draining down.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Sorry, that was kind of a random question, but like
Oh, it's a good
it
one.
kind of fell into it. I'm like, well, wait, how do you do that? But Yeah, that's really good because I mean it's not a dangerous thing, but it can be overwhelming. I mean
Oh, very much so.
you're getting energy from source, and then you're getting energy from client, and then you've got your own energy going on. So
It's a lot.
it's a lot to take on. It is. It
Yeah,
definitely
I
is.
think giving it to the earth is definitely the fastest way to like get rid of that excess energy that you're holding on to. Because sometimes I'll be like full body buzzing after a session and it's like too
Oh
much
yeah.
energy for me to just walk around with. But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
just sometimes putting your hands on the earth helps too.
Okay.
Or
Well,
sitting at the
just
base of the
me,
tree.
just me, don't you have to do some grounding, being a medium and picking up all of that energy? Do you have to
I
work at grounding yourself as well?
I do. And what I usually do is I just kind of envision roots going like tree roots going through my body and running into the earth.
Hmm.
Um, back in the day, I do not advise it. I do not recommend it. Tobacco was my grounding, my go-to grounding thing, and then after a while, I grew out of it, and it was like, okay, so that's bad. That's toxic on so many levels. Yes, it grounds, but it doesn't help anything else. So we got to find something else. But yeah, the root um, visualization really helps, and then uh, calling on Michael and Jeremiel, Archangel. I think I'm saying his name right, or Jeramiel. He helps too, especially when I sleep, because I have a lot of very vivid prophetic dreams. So he comes and he kind of helps buffer a lot of the messages that come through in the dreams. Make sure I don't go too far away from my body when I do the astral projection when I sleep, and then with the other messages that could be coming in. So both the those angels are really helping lately.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
And I like the fact that Lauren, you say that you said the first thing that you said was you cut the cord because you cut a cord because when you connect to somebody, you create a cord. And
Hmm.
that's really, I don't know, that's profound to me. I like that.
That's
And
incredible.
Mama D, who we love, Miss Mama D. And thank you, everybody, our viewers. If you have any questions for Lauren, we'd appreciate you if you want to ask them. We love you and we appreciate you anyway, but we would love for you to ask. And Mama D is from the Fox Den with Mama D
Mhm.
and Gina B. And they are awesome. You ought to watch their show sometime. So she is also a healer, a Reiki master. And she said the first time she did healing on somebody, it was like the energy cursed through me was indescribable. That's so true. I mean, do you
Mhm.
feel that way, Lauren?
Yes, it's it's hard to describe for sure. It's like everything all at once.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. I love it. It just and it seems like it gets bigger and bigger. The more I learn about it, the bigger it gets, and it just keeps building onto it. Um, so what is the best way for someone to get a hold of you if they want to do a session with you?
So right now I have a website that is up. It's the limitlesslotus.com, and you can book with me directly through there. There's a link that will bring you to my email. Or you can email me directly at lauren@thelimitlesslotus.com and book from there. Also, you can book with me through my Instagram, which is instagram.com/thelimitlesslotus. And you can
Nice.
message me directly there.
Good. And you do long distance through like Zoom or on via webcam, things like that. I just dated myself
Yeah.
webcam.
So I don't necessarily have to use a webcam when I do them, but I do offer remote sessions, which is, completely from a distance. Energy healing doesn't require being there in person because of its quantum nature. So, yeah, that's currently really mostly what I do is remote sessions.
Good. Okay. Well, that's good
So
to know. That way everybody can come see you.
Yes.
Mama D says, Lauren, of your modalities, which would you recommend as the first baby step?
Of my modalities,
Yes.
um, so well, if we're really talking about baby steps here, I wouldn't necessarily jump right into light activation. A good one to start with, I think, is actually Reiki, which is the more well-known energy healing modality that's a bit more universal. It's completely different from light activation. The frequency, the vibration of it is completely different. They're not the same, but it's a lot gentler. And I think it doesn't have that same quality that will like you don't have to like keep going with the healing after you do Reiki once. Like you can just like dip your toes in the water and then be done. Whereas with light activation, it's like once you're in, you're in. So I recommend trying Reiki first if you're just kind of curious about energy healing in general. But if you really want to dive into the ascension process and really like work on raising your vibration and changing your habit, then you want to start with light activation. And then eventually you can go on to the DNA after you've had enough of the light activation.
Beautiful. Lauren, can you tell us what a session with you would look like? Can you like explain how you do your sessions? And because I know that you did mine remotely,
Mm-hmm.
where we weren't on Zoom. We connected and then I went and concentrated, but you go ahead.
So what would
Sorry.
it sorry, so what would it look like remotely, you mean?
No, like how you did your session with me. We connected and then you did like instead of saying your session with you and I that I did with you, we connected on Zoom the whole time. So how do you do your sessions?
So when I do mine, I generally chat with the client beforehand, with just like a lot of times I use the Facebook chat messenger or we can do a phone call. It's kind of whatever communication method the client prefers. And we just chat about what they want to focus on and what areas they want to grow and improve. Um, and then after we establish the focus, then the client can hang up completely and they go into a meditation on their own. And during that meditation, I'm working in in the energetic field around them for 45 minutes. And we're not on the phone during that time. We're just there in spirit. So, and I can remotely view the client while I'm doing this work in the energetic realms, if that makes sense. So,
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
incredible.
I do the work, and then after the 45 minutes is up, I always tell the client to have a timer set so they know when to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And they can play music for themselves if they'd like to. They can bring their own crystals into the session if they would like to. I usually set up crystal grids, like a little chakra grid on my end, which I treat as the client's body while I'm working on them. Um, and so, yeah, but that's optional. And then I wake them up and we basically go over all of the channeled feedback because during the session, I'm working alongside of their guides and the archangels and their star families. And so all of those channeled messages come through for them. We go over it. I give feedback and any like spiritual homework that was recommended by their guides, if there is any. And that's pretty much it.
And I can attest, having a session with you, that I really did feel that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And on the little trailer that we made for Lauren was the crystal grid that she made for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's special. I save that. And actually, I feel like I get activations off of it when I look at it. I don't know. What do you think about that, Lauren?
That is something that I intend. when I make them for people. So that should be happening on your end, because that's
Okay,
part of the
good.
intention that I put into the grids personally. That's not like specific to light activation. That's just something I like to do.
Mhm. That's
Well,
really
there you go. I picked up on it.
yeah.
Awesome.
That
I
is
love
really
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
So,
really cool.
without divulging anybody's identity, can you tell us maybe a story or an experience that you had that when you were doing a session that you especially enjoyed or your favorite?
So I guess generally the most exciting thing that happens is when like things are confirmed from two different sources. So like for example, I had a client who I channeled the message for him that his soul, part of his soul mission was to heal the collective masculine and feminine wounding. Um, I channeled him this message and he really resonated with it. And he reached out to me like a month later and said that he had done another session with a shamanic practitioner who did a reading for him and ended up channeling pretty much the same exact message that I had channeled.
Oh wow.
So when this happens, it just gives people confirmation that like, okay,
Mhm.
this is like really real. I heard this from two different sources. So when that
Mhm.
happens, I get really excited because it for me, it gives me clarity that my intuition was right, and also it gives the client clarity around their just their soul's mission and the messages that come through around it. I've also had it happen like with starseed families, like I've told people like, oh, I channeled that you had a past life in Andromeda, and they'll be like, oh yeah, like I had a feeling that was true. Like I had a gut feeling that was the case. Thank you for confirming that for me. So stuff like that is always really exciting too.
Yeah, that's always
Nice.
good to hear back from a client after that happens. I read tarot and I get excited too when they call me back or they text me and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what happened and the tarot had said that and everything. So yeah, I totally get it. So
Yeah.
absolutely. That confirmation, it just makes you feel good. And like you said, it makes them feel good because it reaffirms with them and yeah, yep, good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's always so fun.
That's wonderful. So
So, speaking of tarot, I know that Jessime has a question about the tarot and the oracle
oh,
readings.
yeah, Raven had said that you read Oracle. Do you read Tarot as well?
So
Or are you solely Oracle?
as far as like what I offer to clients, pretty much just
Mhm,
Oracle. Um,
mhm,
because for me personally, in my experience, tarot is very specific,
mhm,
and like I haven't like dedicated myself to really like learning the individual cards on a level that I find is efficient enough to offer readings to others. But I think it's really still beneficial for me to use for myself for like shadow work and stuff like that.
right,
Um, but tarot, yeah, just because it's so specific, I think it's better to go to somebody who like specializes in it.
mhm,
But Oracle, I feel, is kind of it has more of like a broad spectrum perspective on everything that can be a lot more open to interpretation, and I think it works alongside of the sessions that I do really well, like just to like pull like a one card reading alongside of the feedback or something like that.
well, good, good. I'm glad it like fits in there. It's nice to have it like fit like a glove.
Yeah.
Especially when you have all that information coming to you, you don't have an extra specific type of like card reading or something. It would almost be too much. I feel like that's kind of what
Yeah,
I'm getting.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So what kind of music do you listen to get yourself in the mood for yourself and your clients while you while you're
I like
working?
to, yeah, I like to play like tuning forks for myself sometimes. Like they have different tuning forks that align with all of the different chakras. So my favorite one's the heart one. I like to connect with that one so that I know my heart is open before going into a session.
Right.
Um, and then like the client can also, they can play tones for themselves on their end if it's a remote session. So like we don't have to be listening to the same thing necessarily. Really,
Okay.
I think on the client's end, it's better for them to choose something that resonates with them and their focus.
There you go. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because what could be really relaxing and reassuring for one person might be kind of nerve wracking for another. So yeah,
totally.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the music is optional too. It's like people don't have
Right.
to play things if they don't want to.
Right.
Well, it just depends. I mean, I didn't do music during my session, but I don't usually play music while I'm meditating.
Hmm.
But sometimes when I'm doing in-person Reiki work, I will play some Reiki music or whatever to maybe set the mood. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I
Nice.
agree with you. It's kind of a personal
Hmm.
preference between everybody, but we were just kind of wondering what you liked to
Yep.
do. And I have tuning forks too. I like them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I find them
Yeah.
very effective. Or isochronic tones are nice too.
Hmm.
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 Do you
Very nice.
use, if you do in person Reiki and such, do you use the tuning forks on the person as well?
I do not use tuning forks. No, I would like to eventually get some, but I don't currently have any. But definitely something I'm interested in doing in the future.
Yeah,
Nice.
I use them on my in person and I really love them. And the people who have received the energy from them, they really like those too. Just a bit of trivia.
I'll have to listen to them. I don't think I've heard tuning forks outside of like a music room. Um, but I haven't
Like
heard tuning forks
when you come
for
over to
healing.
the house, when you come over one night, I'll use the tuning forks on you.
Okay, then yeah, I'm interested now that yeah, like I said, new ideas every day with all of this. But I'm familiar with the singing bowls, but so the tuning forks
Hmm.
are going to be a new experience. Very interesting. Very
Yeah, the
cool.
vibrations go into the body and it
Hmm.
stimulates different parts of the chakras and the energy body.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Like I can kind of with the idea, I can almost feel it, down the front of me in my alignment, like just kind of thinking about it. Yeah.
Tuning into
Yeah.
the tuning.
Do what?
Tuning into the frequency.
Yes, yes. Especially when you said the heart chakra too. I'm like, that's the one that like I really want to feel it in. So I can feel it.
Yeah,
I can feel it buzzing right now. So good, good.
I love that.
Yep.
And
Nine
good
two
evening,
six.
Miss Lynn Lake. She's
Mhm.
a what is it, QHHT practitioner. She's a very good one too. And
What's
she
that?
says 926 is angel frequency.
Ooh,
Oh yes, it is. That's a
Yep,
good one.
I
very
like
nice.
those.
Love it.
Um, so circling back um, in our conversation, what what would cause a person to come to you for the modality that you use? What are some of the reasons that some people come to you for that modality?
I would say anyone who feels called to a path of higher learning or like spiritual ascension, who's looking for support around that or acceleration around that, even would
Mhm.
be a good candidate. And it causes one's frequency to change over time so that they become more of an energetic match to the people and experiences that they really want to attract in order to have that spiritual growth that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very nice. Now, Lauren,
So,
what? Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
no,
Raven.
no, you're fine. Go ahead. I was
Oh,
just going to ask her what her favorite pastime was.
that's what I was going for too. So go for
Oh,
it.
wow. We think alike.
Yeah, we do. We do. Well, we're good friends. So yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
So what
My
is your
favorite
favorite pastime? Yeah, outside of the metaphysical, if you can get outside of the metaphysical. I know sometimes it becomes a lifestyle when you live it so much. It's just how it is, and
Yeah,
there's no getting away from it.
it is kind of like that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say my favorite activities would be anything outside, hiking in nature. I
Mm-hmm.
especially like hiking barefoot and really connecting with the earth, which, yeah, that is spiritual for me as well.
Yeah,
I'm really into art and music. I like to sing and dance and play guitar. I'd say those are probably some of my main interests outside of it, but they all have a spiritual aspect for me as well, to be honest.
absolutely. Absolutely. And music itself, you said you play guitar. I mean, that's when you're holding your guitar and you're singing and playing music, that's all vibration, and that opens those chakras, and music alone can help realign you. So you really have to be careful what kind of music you listen to. Because like your music, just even without words, can do damage to your system sometimes. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I can only imagine that the kind of stuff that you play, it seems like you would be a very soothing type of musician. I'd listen
yes.
to you.
Oh, thank you. I try to go for soothing.
I can tell. I can
So,
tell. I can feel your energy. So,
Oh,
so
that's good.
Leah says, I'm often approached by strangers and people close to me with their trials and tribulations. I usually end up helping them and see a path of healing and can feel an energy often inside myself and coming off them. After talking and listening to them, I find it soothing in my own way. Most almost as if I also healed a part of myself. Well, you probably did heal a part of yourself. Wouldn't you agree, Lauren?
Oh,
yep,
yes,
yep.
100%.
What are your
Sometimes
thoughts on that statement?
I think sometimes, we help others heal in more unconventional ways, such as just having a conversation with someone on the street, and you were probably channeling for them exactly what it was that they needed to hear. Even if you weren't aware of the fact that you were channeling, that's probably what that feeling was that you had
Mhm.
coming up for you, that positive feeling. Um, yeah, I think that's really beautiful.
It is.
That
It's very
is. Yeah.
beautiful. And I
Hmm.
agree with you. You're right, because we often, say things to a perfect stranger and it's something that we don't realize it, but they need to hear. And,
Hmm.
of course, as I said earlier, when we heal others, we heal ourselves as well.
Right.
Because that's how the energy works. I think it's a cycle.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. And I think too that when you carry the healing energy, and you carry the that light, whether you want to call it God light or holy light, with you, I think that attracts people to you.
Mhm.
Sometimes the not so savory people, but also sometimes people that either want to make a connection to you, or they might subconsciously recognize you as somebody from a past life, or even a the starseed family that they were from. But I mean, I think it's important to let that energy show, and let that light shine, but still shield yourself, and protect yourself. But
Yeah.
it does seem like the more you practice that, and the higher vibration you get, the more people start coming out of the woodwork at you. I've noticed that
Mm-hmm.
lately. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
But then, like you said, you really need to be careful because some of them are coming out of the woodwork that do
oh
not
yeah,
have the best intentions,
no, no.
which is why we must I
Hmm.
cannot express the importance of shielding yourself
Yep,
too much. I mean, like I
exactly,
say, I do
exactly.
it in the morning and in the evening,
Yep, I
and
do
and
too.
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
during the day. I mean, when my shields go up real quick sometimes.
Hmm.
And I don't mean to be ugly about it, but I need to protect myself.
Yeah,
And I know,
absolutely.
Jessamy, you feel the same way. I'm pretty
Oh
sure,
yeah.
Lauren, you feel the same way about that as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah,
It is important.
I've attracted some doozies lately, and it was, um, but yeah, the more I practice and the higher I vibe and the deeper I get into things like this, the darker some of these people are. They don't have
Hmm.
the best intentions, and it's one of those. Well, like the one recently, I had tried to heal him, and it almost cost me my life.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I stayed around too long, and he, he it was bad. But
Yeah.
so like you definitely have to learn a balance too. But
Mhm.
your life, you have to take care of it because your life is just as sacred as theirs. And it's
Yes.
hard to remember that sometimes when you're just so focused on healing them. You want to help
Yes.
them that you forget to help yourself. And yeah,
Big
it was
Yeah.
time.
not a good thing. And it was my fault, because I should have seen that. But like I said, I was just so focused on helping that became a toxic part of me. So you
I think it
have to
happens
learn
to
to reel
all of
it
us. Yeah.
in. Hmm. Yep.
And sometimes I feel like those energies, those dark energies, will block you from seeing
Yeah.
what
Oh yeah.
you need to see. And
Yeah,
so you
they keep
can't
Absolutely.
us
blame
afraid.
yourself for all of it.
Mhm.
Right. Right. But still, it's an easy trap to fall into, though, especially for those that are starting out. Um, yeah, we've got a lot of the younger generation are up and coming, and they're going to start working on things. So that's something that they will need to be aware of.
Mhm.
That people are going to come at them because they like a moth to a flame, but moths are still bugs sometimes, and not all bugs are good. So,
That's
Yeah.
true.
hmm
So, Lauren, what message would you like to leave our viewers with this evening?
I would say just remember you are more than just your human avatar, and there's so much to explore within the dimensions, and you are so much more like limitless than you realize. And that's where I get my business name from, because I feel like this work really opens us up to our limitless nature.
hmm
And that's definitely my mission, is to just help people see that.
Absolutely. And Lynn Lake, you are absolutely correct.
hmm
People have to want to be healed as well. Um,
Absolutely.
that's the gist of it right there is, you can't you can't heal somebody that doesn't want to be healed,
Mm,
you
no,
know.
you sure can't.
Speaking of healing, I have a new website that I'm on. It's heal.me, and my my profile is up there now, and you can connect to, I even have a 15-minute free mini session so you can ask me about any modality.
Very cool.
Um, so, Lauren, we're really so happy that you came on our show. We love you.
I love you guys.
I'm so honored to have you here. We've waited a long time for you to come
Yes,
here.
I was so
Yeah.
Yeah,
excited. Yeah.
I'm so
So
glad
I'm
to
so
be here.
happy. You may have to come on our show again sometime, you
I
Yes,
would
know.
love
please
that.
do.
I would
And
really
to
love
Please.
our
that.
viewers, we really, really, really appreciate you viewing our show and
We love
participating
you.
with us. We love you. And so we would like to end this show with that. Unless there is anything else that anybody would like to ask, Lauren? Any? No? So I thank all of our viewers, and we will call it a night.
Oh, Lynn said that you have amazing energy.
Oh, yay.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you do. Like your energy is absolutely beautiful and soothing.
It
And,
is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. I could sit here and talk for hours. So,
That's so nice.
thank you, everyone. We love
So,
you.
just to reiterate, we are taking a break until the new year.
Mhm.
So, and within the new year, our first show, we will do interviews with each other. So, hopefully, everybody will come and watch that.
Yep. Hopefully. I'm excited. I'm excited to to have that. We'll have to brew some tea. We'll do a tea night with it. That'll be fun. Everybody bring a teacup.
Yeah. Maybe Jessie will bring her cards too.
Yes, I would love that.
All righty. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Love you.